Oh my gosh, it got quiet here.
Yeah, well, we only have 3 little minutes, so everybody's scurrying around getting all their last minute things like the bathroom, water, pens, papers, phones.
And I'm sorry I didn't get to change my shirt yet. I'm still a logoed individual for the North Carolina Works system. We had a job fair at the Ag Center today. So if I need to change my shirt to a non-logo, I can do that, Karen.
It's really okay, Mark. We don't really care. It's all right. It's all good.
It actually matches my headphones. It's kind of strange. The
Yes,
color is
very matching.
coordinated.
I did notice that.
It's an unusual color, but when it works, it works. Does anybody have teal as their favorite color of the color palette?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have
But
one of my favorite shirts is that color.
and maybe it's not teal, maybe it's seafoam. Is that better describing?
Seafoam's a little lighter and it's not as bright, but it's all good.
Okay.
All right, we are going to start in 2 minutes. Hope
All right.
everybody's enjoying getting settled in again.
I'm going to go ahead and pause all my stuff until I get through with my introductions, and then I will jump on as soon as I can.
So you want to introduce yourself real fast to Sandra, because we will be finished introducing by the
Okay.
time you jump on.
Okay. Hi, Sandra. My name is Sonia Frazier. I am Choctaw and Chickasaw, and I live in Ada, Oklahoma. I've been a nurse for over 21 years. I just love my community that I work in, and we're trying to create a spiritual holistic clinic. And that's what I'm trying to learn and gain from this course. And so tonight we're having a cultural class. We have a cultural class every third Wednesday of the month. So we've got our class on the other side. And the other instructor that helps me along is my partner. She had a birthday party to go to tonight for her daughter. So I got to go do the introductions for that and then help that class get started. And then I will be jumping back on to join all of you.
Okay. See you in shortly. Okay.
Okay.
That's totally awesome. All right. So now it's 1 more minute. And then we'll start. Hello, Luann. Hello, Lisa Seeds. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Liz. Hi, Matthew.
Howdy.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Mark. All righty, it's 7 o'clock. So welcome to class number 9. And we are just glad to have everyone on tonight. And what we're going to do is check in as a flower, because there's spring flowers all over the place. And then
Happy to be here.
I'll introduce Sandra, and then you all will introduce yourselves with your names, what state you're from, and why you're taking this course. Okay. All right. So what flower? So the flowers that are around here right now are dandelions. So I am going to choose dandelions because they're really tough and persistent. And these are 2 attributes of a RN patient advocate. Just saying. Okay, Luann, what are you?
Well, on the west side of my house, by the way, Sandra, my name is Luann, and we're first going to check in as a flower. So on the west side of the house, I have calla lilies, and they're beautiful this year. Not only are they so plentiful, but they've grown really tall, and they're up over saying hello to my neighbor. So they're white, and they just look like they're shouting at joy at the day. So they make me happy.
Thank you. Okay, Lisa Seeds, what about you?
When we checked in a little while ago, and we were flowers, I said Lily of the Valley. And Lily of the Valley is still one of my absolute favorite flowers. They are blooming right now, and they are so small but so fragrant, and they're just beautiful. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of them, but I can bring one into the bathroom, and it just makes it smell so wonderful. So I'm still a Lily of the Valley.
Awesome. Thank you. And Sabrina,
I am going to say deadly nightshade. Because I first learned about that when I binge watched Wednesday too much on Netflix. And I will say that I like that it can kill people and that it can be medicine. It depends on the day, kind of like me. So I'm gonna
okay. Liz stepped away. So Sandra, what flower are you checking in as to this evening?
Azaleas are in full bloom here in Western North Carolina. And my grandmother planted some on my property, and I just love looking at the beauty that they offer. So it's about beauty for me this time of year.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sandra. And Matthew, what about you?
Let's do Iris for me right now, because we're just at that point here in New Mexico where we had a really cold year. And so things are a little late or just odd. Some things are coming up, some things aren't. The iris in the one part of my yard, the warm part of my yard, are just huge. They just quadrupled, and they're super hardy, and they're so gorgeous. I just can't believe it. So I'm doing iris tonight.
Thank you. And Lisa Nowicki, what flower are you tonight? You're muted, Lisa.
There it is. I'm the firecracker flower. It's orange and it's blooming persistently in our front yard. So I like to be a firecracker most of the time. I'm I'm trying. Just feel a little tired, but I had a little tea. So yeah, but I like the firecracker flower. There it is.
Thank you. And Liz Dinsley, what about you? You're muted, Liz.
All right. Good.
Good.
Sorry, I had to run my puppy outside. The desert poppy, not that they are currently up, but they are tenacious and beautiful.
Thank you. And Jennifer, what about you?
Well, first of all, I've got to say, Luann, I can't believe your calla lilies are so huge right now, because mine are just starting. And Sabrina, you scared me just a little bit, but we're going to work through that tonight. I feel it. I'm going to relate to peonies or peonies, depending on where you're from and how you say it. And I want to say because they are so fragrant and pleasing to the sense of smell, but they also feed the earth with the way the ants love them and attack them and, feed their groups. So.
Really awesome. And Mark, what about you?
I need some help. I know Karen's going to come through on this one. I intentionally had to look for this pitch. It grows as a wildflower out in the grass. I was going to run out and pick one, but I hear the lawnmower chopping them down right now. I assume this is like some sort of violet.
That's correct.
Just
That's correct.
looking a little closer into them. real tiny, but it caught my attention, and I like the picture because there's this rusted screw in there as well.
Oh, that brings up all kinds of metaphors. Okay. So
Are those Vinkas?
they look Vinca-ish, but they're not. So they're a little wildflower. Maybe at halftime I'll go back and do my iNaturalist thing, but I think we have violets everywhere right now, everywhere. So all right, well, we are here to welcome Sandra Smith. And I think what I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen and share her website with you momentarily. And here she is. And so I'm just going to read a few things to you, but she is an extreme expert in the whole work of the Enneagram. And I've known her for 30 years, and I believe she started this work like about 22 or 3 years ago. So she has a master's in divinity and is a certified narrative tradition teacher, an Enneagram consultant, and an International Enneagram Association accredited professional and spiritual companion. And she teaches the Enneagram throughout North America as a tool for personal and professional development and spiritual growth. Around these parts in Asheville, so many people know her because of her great work. So for the last 8 years, she's organized and taught at the East Coast Enneagram Professional Training Program, founded by Helen Palmer and David Daniels, who've done extreme amounts of work with Enneagram. I'll let her tell you about that. And she serves as a mentor supervisor for candidates seeking certification in the Enneagram Professional Training Program. And she began teaching this system in 2001 and founded Alchemy Works, that's her company, in 2008, which began her full-time Enneagram teaching and consulting. Her clients include corporations, hospitals, nonprofits, and church staffs. And her background is in business, theology, and nonprofit management, which helps her have a great perspective on the development and team building aspects. Her why in using the Enneagram in all these settings is to create more compassionate individuals and workplace environments through deepening self and other understanding. And she brings all kinds of practical approaches in presenting the material. And as you will hear her speak, she has deep, deep compassionate sensitivity in listening. And she is an accredited International Enneagram Association speaker and teacher. And she's presented numerous International Enneagram Association conferences in the US as well as Canada, and a speaker for Spiritual Directors International. And she has a BS in business from Wake Forest University and a master's in divinity from Candler School of Theology at Emory University. And she's certified nonprofit management through Duke University, and she's a trained community mediator. And in the spring of 2018, she and another person, an Enneagram colleague, created a podcast, Heart of the Enneagram, explored dimensions of the 9 unique personalities as they interviewed guests. And now this podcast has been downloaded a mere 350,000 times in 80 countries. So I bring you Sandra Smith. And so I'm going to go around the room, and if you will just tell Sandra your name, what state you're from, and why you're taking this course, and we're going to give her the baton. Okay, so Luann, what about you?
Okay, Sandra. So I live between Wyoming and California, mostly right now in California. I am in this course because I have a vision about transferring my nursing practice outside of the hospital. And I really want to work in a lane where I'm educating, empowering people in wellness as much as I can at home. Very simple from what I have done in nursing for 30 years.
Thank you, Luann. And Lisa Seeds, what about you?
Hi, Sandra. So mine's a kind of a twofold thing. You'll talk to Jennifer here in a little bit. She and I are working at the same hospital, have a lot of the same thoughts and processes. But my main reason for this course in particular is because I want to be able to talk to my peers and my patients so that we're all in a more holistic view of each other, and hopefully able to communicate on a higher level of understanding. So that's where I am.
Thank you. And Sabrina, what about you?
Hello, I'm Sabrina. I am in Arkansas. I am here for a variety of different reasons. I understand that the healthcare system kind of sucks, and I am here to try to fill in the gaps for a lot of the patients, trying to help it kind of look at a different perspective and see how I can help our community look at it from a more holistic perspective. And I'm going to try to do that for Arkansas. So, welcome.
Thanks. Thank you, Sabrina. And Liz.
Right. I'm working now.
Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. I'm in Colorado and I love it here. And I've been a nurse for long enough that it would be nice to be free of corporations who think they are like the end all be all gift to create advanced primary care. Sorry. Anywho, I feel like I can assist better with that without all the hoo-ha and processes and all these things people never implement. I'd like to sort of try to evaluate my community a little bit to see what their needs are. But I've always been holistically minded and will be ever so happy to express that a bit more.
Thanks, Liz. And Matthew.
Hi, I'm Matthew, and I live in New Mexico between Santa Fe and Albuquerque, and I have escaped the hospitals as a nurse practitioner, and I went from that into being the doctor at a men's prison here for a while, and it liked to kill me. I'm a recovering doctor in a prison. I feel like I've been paroled, and I'm just now starting to feel a little bit more back to normal. I anchored in a really nice spiritual, holistic practice in Santa Fe, and I'm the Western medicine person here while everybody else are mainly acupuncturists or doing all sorts of alternative therapies. And I'm doing this course just to kind of, I've always wanted to do it, and just to really round out my palette of things that I can offer patients, just really make sure, when it comes up that I'm ready to be a professional advocate for people when they need it.
Thanks, Matthew. And Jennifer, what about you?
I'm Jennifer. I am from Richmond, Virginia. Lisa Seeds and I work together at a Catholic affiliated hospital that went through I call it a violent takeover or merger within the last so many years. I signed on to the hospital back in 2006 or 5, I think, and truly believed in their missions and values statement, serving an underprivileged, underinsured community. And really, I even went through a parish nurse class. I was that into believing in our facility. And since this merger happened, I've lost my faith in the healthcare in the facility. I signed on to be a faith-based ministry, and if I go to one of the HCA facilities, I know what I'm signing on for. I've seen and been through too much moral injury, not only with my father, but seeing other things in the hospitals that go on. And I want to improve that. I want to improve that for as many patients. If it's one a week or one a month that I can do, that's what I want to do. I want to believe in the faith-based ministry again. I want to believe in holistic care. I want to believe that myself and or nurses that I come across can do what's best for the patients, as opposed to just seeing that patient as a paycheck. So
Thank you. And lastly, Lisa Nowicki.
Hi, Sandra. I am Lisa Nowicki. I am in Orlando, Florida, and I started doing this class because, well, I was a massage therapist before I was a nurse, and then I became a nurse, and I wanted to bring some holism into nursing, but that's kind of tough working in the hospital. So I feel like if I can do my own thing, helping patients with my knowledge of what goes on in the hospital, and how to weave that in with holistic healthcare, well, all the better. Thanks.
Thank you all. Mark, can you make Sandra a co-host?
She should have the necessary privileges.
Great,
It's not
okay.
necessary. Mhm.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Karen, thank you for inviting me. I've always loved being with those in this training. And Mark, thank you for your steadfastness with technology. Listening to each of you, all of you, it gave me hope and the possibility that things will change, whether within or without, but you're there. And I so hope each of you is successful in what you want to do and how you want to bring health and wellness to humans. So thank you. Anyone here familiar with the Enneagram at all? Matthew, you are. Karen? Lisa, a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to show some slides, but then you'll see me again, just to kind of put us in what exactly it is. Ennea is Greek for 9. And the symbol, you have the 2 handouts I sent. That symbol's thousands of years old. You would find it in Pythagorean theorem. It was used for sacred geometry. It wouldn't have the words and numbers on it that you see there. But it's an enneagon. And in the 50s, a Bolivian philosopher, Oscar Ichazo, started working with it and brought together some ancient wisdom and created the system that we're talking about today. One of the things I love about the Enneagram is that it didn't originate in the United States with white people. It just has a broader, it did come to the States, to the Berkeley area in the early 70s. But it's quite global and quite popular now, which is the good news, bad news, because some people think it's a typing system. Oh, what type are you? I know who you are. But it really isn't. It's a map of our ego structure's automatic patterns. And so I don't know of another tool or system that helps us deepen self-awareness as much as this one does. And I just want to start with this quote, because you're going to be working with a lot of different people. And knowing who you are is fundamental to how well you engage with others. So the more aware I am of myself, the more I understand my impact on others. And so we may talk some about that in the next hour or so that we have. So it's about understanding your impact on people. We're going to talk about the Enneagram types, but I also want you to know that we're not our type. More on that momentarily. But there are 3 pillars to self-awareness. And one is a grounded presence. And I'm assuming since all of you have been in healthcare, you know how to get present pretty fast with another person. And so let's just get present as best we can right now. And let's just simply do it by going into our direct experience. This is so easy, and you can do it anywhere. But if you will, just notice your clothing touching your skin. That's your direct experience. Notice exactly where your body meets the chair, precisely where. And can you feel your sock or shoe on your foot? That's direct experience. And my practice that I do several times a day is, am I more expanded or contracted in my body? And does that make sense to you? You're either tight and clutched, contracted, or you're relaxed, soft, expansive. What that tells us is if your heart is open or defended. So when I'm contracted, my heart's defended. When I'm expansive, my heart is more open. That's a very big deal, because anytime you go into a conversation with your clients, patients, whoever, a grounded presence and an open heart takes you just about anywhere you need to go. We also have an inner observer, and we cannot shift our behaviors without connecting with that inner witness so that we can watch ourselves, observe ourselves. Without observing ourselves, we don't know who we are. We're lost to ourselves. And then, of course, once I've connected with the inner observer, I can notice where I'm placing my attention and shift it. It's not what we do, it's how we see. Energy follows attention. So notice where you're placing your attention. We'll talk more about that. So the contraction expansion is an easy thing to notice about 3 times a day. And then if I'm contracted, I kind of breathe and get more expansive. And also to notice that in medieval English, the word presence means sacred gift. And that's the most important thing you'll be offering those you work with. All right. So just a few things about the system. It's a map of our internal landscape, our internal processing system. It tells us how we take the world in and process it. I can interchangeably use Enneagram type in our ego structure. So once you know your type, you have a map of your ego structure's automatic patterns. And friends, this is formed between and done by the ages of 5 to 7, somewhere around there. Some of this we're born with, nervous system wiring, temperament, energy, and some is in the family's relationship with us. Keep in mind, the Enneagram doesn't put you in a box, but it shows you the box your ego structure has you in. It indicates some preferences, but be open to surprise with yourself and others, because we just never know what we humans are going to do. And then people the same type. We have several 9s, we have 2 4s, 2 7s. They're not the same people, right? They're going to process information quite similarly, but because of their own personal history, the behavior will be different. So I want to keep in mind that this is not about behavior, not about behavior. This is going deeper into why you're doing what you do, why you're thinking what you think. So it's going to show you, once you know your type, what some of the harsh inner narratives are that you tell yourself, what you avoid at all cost, what are some of your inherent strengths. So we're going to talk about some of this. Karen, do we need to take a break anytime before I finish? No, we're good. We'll get
Yeah, we're good.
take care of yourselves if you need to. So Enneagram is a map of your automatic patterns, some of which you know, some of which you won't. but it really is a vehicle for deepening knowing yourselves better. It's changed my life and continues to do this. So I'm excited to share it with you. All right. I'm going to keep going with a few slides. Please remember that you're not your type. We have this ego and it has us in its grip with its automatic patterns, but there's an essence in us. There's true nature in us, a ground of being. So when I'm present, you get Sandra. If I'm not present, you get the automatic patterns of type 8. When Mark is present, we get Mark. If he isn't, we get the patterns of type 4, and so forth and so on. Ethically, this is used to really sustain curiosity, deepen compassion for ourselves and others. And then if it's not used in this way, we're misusing it by using the Enneagram type to blame another person or as an excuse for ourselves. And that's not what it's about. We don't type other people. They need to come to that on their own. Think of it as an internal diversity system. So you're gonna get a clue about the 9 placements of attention of humanity. And these are, if you can keep those in your mind, you will get more curious about the people that you're working with. It's quite fascinating. So here we go. Let's undo this. Your first placement of attention by type is on your handout, and it's in bold. So we look at our beloved 9s, and their first placement is on others' agendas because they want to maintain harmony and avoid conflict. So notice the motivation is in italics, the focus in bold. They fit hand in glove. For type 4, they're looking at what's missing to keep longing. Sabrina's looking for trouble. 6 is a beautiful troubleshooter. So she's moving into the future to see what could go wrong to make sure it doesn't. While Luann and Lisa are kind of detaching and observing. So the opposite of this placement of attention is a blind spot for us. So for Sonia and Karen, there's a best case thinking, a positive outlook. They like to be stimulated by new information or experiences or new people. But the best case thinking, the opposite of that is the difficulties that may show up. And so 7s then do some work to bring that in. And Karen has done that. I've watched her over the years. And so, Sabrina, you're in the opposite end of that. And as you do worst case thinking, you've got to bring in positive possibilities. And you may be doing that at this point in your life. And Jennifer and Lisa and Matthew, it's really about finding your own agenda and sticking with your own wants and priorities. That's the blind spot. And when we detach and observe our beloved 5s, that's a feeling.
Barbara D. Loach.
That's a sense that there's scarcity and you've got to pull back or you'll be depleted. And so the opposite of that is to know that there is abundance and to continue to engage. Continue to engage. So, and then for 4, the opposite is what's here that you're grateful for. Right there is its own psychological and spiritual practice. Look for the opposite of your focus of attention. You will see more of reality. When you're in stress, friends, guess what happens to that focus, that filter? It narrows. That's why the more conscious we are of this filter, the better able we are to catch it in stress and remain open to more of reality. you all discerned your type. Does that focus of attention, you've got that handout, does yours make sense to you? Are there any questions here?
The one question I've had is, I do continue to come up as a 9, but every once in a while I'll just take some quickie test online and I come off as something completely different. And I get confused. The Enneagram is the one thing I've studied that just feels hard for me to know that I'm right.
Yes. So thanks, Matthew. Because this one is not about behavior, discerning your type is a little more difficult. Online test, there's really only 1 or 2 that I really trust. But the way we really discern is by self-observation. And so if you look at the handout, does what I've gotten written for type 9, does that make sense to you? That you try to avoid conflict and that you're scanning. 9s scan for possible conflict. We don't know they're doing that, but 9s use a lot of energy scanning ahead of time to make sure they're going to head it off at the pass. You'll read in some places they're called the mediator, but they don't, if conflict's in the room, they don't mediate, they leave. The mediation happens before the conflict. They're trying to mediate it so it doesn't. We don't know they're doing that. But that's a lot of energy you all are putting out for that. Yeah, so just if that resonates with you, and if there's something called the ego ideal on that handout, that's your ego's story about you. And it's doing everything inside of us to make sure we stay right there. So for our 9s, I'm peaceful and settled. And so the 9s have a lovely, accepting, tolerant demeanor. If we step outside that, our ego will try to scare us back. So if I ask you all the questions, does everybody see your ego ideal on the handout? 4s, I'm unique, I'm special. 5, I'm knowledgeable. 7, I'm upbeat and positive. 6, I'm loyal and connected. Just makes sense. Who are you beyond that? If you stay there, you die small. And we will get disoriented if we step outside that box. But the Enneagram is showing us the box we're in and how we limit ourselves so that we can move beyond that. Does that make sense? So it's wanting you to focus in that placement of attention on the very thing that will keep you in the box. And if I say, who are you beyond that? Normally, what this type structure or ego will do is send you to a duality. So for one example, we don't have a 1, but I'll use that. 1 is I'm responsible and good. So when I work with 1s, I say, well, who are you beyond that? And they say, well, I don't want to be lazy and irresponsible. That's how the ego structure is saying, come back here. I don't want to do that. But where's holy middle ground? Well, creative, tender, whimsical, right? So we have to grow ourselves beyond that ego ideal, and people, we will not get rid of it. It has some good news for us. We are successful in part because of that. But now we must grow beyond that, in addition to that, and develop more. Otherwise, we have a real limited view of reality, and we are inflexible in how we can process information. Karen and Mark have heard me say this, but the Greenville healthcare system in their medical school, they require people, the students coming in, to know their Enneagram type so they will know their impact on patients. So it's getting pretty popular with a lot of institutions and leadership in particular. Example, as an 8, as I do trainings, I remember walking in one day and they had the screen in front of the window and these chairs just kind of in theater style. And my focus as an 8 is what's out of control. And before I really started working with myself, I would go in and say, well, we've got to move that screen. It can't be in front of a window and we've got to rearrange it, you know, and that's really not a good way to greet someone who's worked hard to bring you there and set up the room. And so now I walk in and I say, gosh, the chairs look so comfortable and look at the break food. How wonderful. And then, do you think we could move the screen? Adjust. Does that make sense? This is about finding a choice point. If we stay in the automatic patterns of our type, we're going to miss our lives because we're on automatic. And so this system tells us exactly how we go on automatic so that we can wake up and really live out our full dimensionality, become alive. Remember the old Howard Thurman quote? Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, because what the world needs is for you to be alive. And that's how this system can help us. All right, I'm going to keep moving. I'm highly interruptible. So just unmute and ask or comment, whatever you want to do. All right. Yeah.
I do have a question, Sandra. So I'm a type 5 and detach and observe. So I'm supposed to go opposite of that. But I found in my past life, I would overextend myself. Not past lives, but you know what I mean, like previously. And so I kind of like went into, it's almost like a PTSD thing. It's just like I either way overextend or I'm like reclusive. So I guess it's a balancing act, just slowly coming out of my shell. But any input on that?
Well, so for the type 5, 5s, 6s, and 7s are known as thinking types. So we have 3 brains, and 5, 6, and 7 are in the thinking head brain. That's their first way of knowing: logic, reason, analysis. And the primary emotion for these 3 types is fear. So Lisa, fear drives your pullback because you fear being depleted to the non-existence. And your type, sister, your type will remind you of all the times you took yourself out there and got depleted. And it will not allow you to remember all the times you went and got nourished. So practice engaging and staying engaged when you feel yourself wanting to pull back for fear of being depleted. Here's the thing, Lisa, 5s deplete themselves by overthinking and pre-thinking. There's a real fear of being seen as incompetent for 5, 6, and 7. And that's going to create an ineffectiveness in this work if you don't get straight with that one. Nobody sees you all as incompetent, but that's in your head. So when you find it coming up, just settle it, not true. So part of the pullback is collecting your thoughts and strategizing. If this happens, then I can do this, or if that happens, but see if you can land more fully in your body in present moment without pre-thinking, because that's what's depleting. If it feels to you like it's us, but it's actually your mind.
Okay.
Play with it. Now, 5s are the most neurologically sensitive type. And so you do like quiet, to know ahead of time. All that is fine. 5 also has trouble being spontaneous. So I would invite you to practice spontaneity. the podcast Karen mentioned, Heart of the Enneagram, we interview all 9 types in season 1. And we interviewed this young man of 5 who was going to be a therapist, and he was in his internship or whatever, and he was scared to death because he didn't know how to prepare. He couldn't pre-think it because people were coming in. He didn't know what the issue was going to be. He was scared to death until he just said, I've got to get in my body. And once he crawled into his body, he was okay. Because then once we're present, he knew his stuff. Things would just come. He didn't pre-think it. Yeah. But he talks about that. And that's in episode 1. It's, season 1, that would be episode 7, if you want to listen to that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Other questions? So rounding out the centers of intelligence, the 5, 6, and 7 would be the head center. Fear is the emotional issue. 8, 9, and 1 are the body types. And they know first through gut instinct and sensation, and anger is the issue, primary issue. Now remember, all of us have fear, anger, and sadness, shame. And then for heart types, and here we'll say for body types, we only have 9s in this group. And then for heart types, we only have 4s. So for the heart types, this is a group that's very relational oriented, and shame is the emotional issue primarily, but they know first through mood, tone, and feeling. Yeah, okay. So we have 3 centers. And when we're in presence, all 3 brains are online for us. And that's what we're hoping for when you work with people. But here's the deal. I can be present and focused. I've got this online, my body's online, but my heart may not be. For 7s and 3s and 8s, the heart is the least accessible brain. And so I have to learn to go receptive to get my heart online. For 4s, 5s, and 9s, and we have more of those types in this group, your body is the least accessible. So you've got to practice with your sensations. That's why that direct experience, can you feel where your body meets the chair? It can help you land more fully in your body. What are you sensing? Practice engaging your 5 senses every day. When you wake up, just simply listen to birdsong. Yeah, right? So 5s, 4s, 9s, 5 senses. Yeah. And 6, Sabrina, in the 1, 2, 6, it's more like there can be a rigidity of thinking for 6s and 2s and 1s. So it's about more mental flexibility, 3 right ways, 3 solutions, that kind of thing. Does that make sense, Sabrina? Okay.
I have a question. I see the groupings. You're very fluid in kind of grouping these numbers, but I see these lines of triangulation, and they must mean something. So you're
Yep.
probably you're going to get there.
Let's do it now, sister.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. So you've got this, and the Enneagram has an inner triangle, 3, 6, and 9. And then it has lines. So every point has 2 lines that go out to 2 other points. So every Enneagram type has 4 resources. I'm going to bring you back. I don't want to see this, and you've got that as a handout, so I don't have to show that. So Luann, as one who leads with, let's see, what are you? 5. You have 4 and 6 as wings. The numbers on either side of your type are called wings, and they will flavor you. Usually one flavors you more than the other. The 9s have 8 and 1, right? The 4s have 3 and 5. One will flavor you more than the other, and at midlife, sometimes that changes. The 2 lines, though, are a very big deal because 5 goes to 7 and 8. And 7 and 8 are the most spontaneous types. And it's exactly what 5s need. You know, those are high energy types that are spontaneous. So it's some good medicine. And when you're not conscious of what's going on and you're in stress, you will go to the low side of 7 and just get scattered in your thinking. That's a low side. All types have a low side and high side. But when you're more relaxed and secure, you can go to 8 and get a little more bold. A little more bold. Yeah. So it's a dynamic system in that, you know, we have 3 9s and, you know, one, let's say for Matthew, the 8 wing is stronger and he has a strong connection to 6. And for Jennifer, she has a stronger 1 wing and connection to 3. That's going to make them a little different, not to mention personal history, right? Okay. There's a whole workshop on those resource points, but thanks.
So it sounds like there's a lot of fluidity in this, and I appreciate your presentation at this point, just because I actually thought that this was more of a typing system, like, you know, this is the box you live in, and there's no growth, there's no movement, there's no anyway. So I can see the flexibility in this.
This is the way out. We are in a box. We're in the prison of our ego structure, really. And this is the way out. This is telling me exactly where I'm stuck and how I limit myself so that I can just stop it. Now I have to create practices to stop that. And they have to go counter to the energy of the pattern. And that is not easy, right? If you've got a neuro pathway that you've used for 60 years and you're going to try to dissolve that pattern, take your vitamins. It's not easy, right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is kind of the road to awake. So I don't have to believe the narratives in my head anymore. I know what they are. I know how they do me in, and I'm just not going to believe them anymore because they're not true. I've seen how not true they are. So energy follows attention. It is a fine idea if you decide each week what you want to find, because whatever we're scanning for, we will find. And so our ego structure has the 4s scanning for what's missing. Oh, it's missing. Then they compare to an internalized ideal, and reality doesn't measure up. And so they feel melancholy. How about scanning for something else? Right? 5s, instead of scanning for what might be depleting, scan for abundance and generosity. 1s, 3s, and 8s are known as task-oriented types. Now, there aren't any in the group, but we will over-effort. So I look for ways I get carried. We get carried. And my efforting has lessened. We get so carried, but we miss it because we're not looking for it. What we scan for, we find. What is it you want to find tonight, tomorrow? I look for beauty. I pick days where I say, I'm just going to be open to surprise today. I wonder what's going to happen. Because the more we're busy and on task, the more we're looking at our cell phones, we're denying our sense of wonderment. And when you work with people, We can get in the weeds around healthcare. We're scared. Those of us who aren't medical people. I don't know what the hell is going on when I go into a hospital. It's scary to me. And so I armor up. I don't trust. And then I call Karen. And so you're meeting people, as you already know, who are vulnerable. Yeah. And they can armor up because we may not trust, or they just slobber all over us because they're scared and crying, you know, and there's all in between. So presence, all three brains online. And you might suggest ways that they could look for the opposite of what they seem to be looking for, not to deny what they're feeling or thinking. But for us today, don't get so focused with your own placement of attention, because you'll stay small if you do. If Sabrina's just going to look for trouble, she'll find trouble. Type 6 Sabrina, half my friends are 6s. And years ago, when I bought my first Prius, I drove to some place in South Carolina where they had them. And I didn't know what I was going to get. My 6th friend drove with me so she could drive back my car. And it was a gray, kind of a gray Prius. And she said, Sandra, that's kind of the same color as the highway. Nobody's going to see you. So that's the worst case, right? But she's also quite positive.
I mean, I term myself as cautiously optimistic. And I'm also, I mean, Liz knows this about me, but I'm a prepper. And I'm a good prepper because I think about all the things that go wrong or could go wrong. And so people come to me because I'm always like, okay, these are the 10 most common things that could go wrong this year. And here's how I've prepared for them.
So there's a future tripping in that. So come back to present as much as you can. But I'll tell you, Sabrina, my last visit to the emergency room, I was just praying I would be greeted by a 6, because they're looking for what's going to go wrong and worst case, and they're prepared and they think logically and they're kind. I mean, all the types can be kind. And actually that's who I got. And sixes have a scan. It's hard to surprise a 6. They just see everything.
Yes, we do. And my therapist tells me that I need to live more in the moment, and that if I am constantly looking for issues in the future, that sometimes I forget to enjoy the present. So I have gotten this speech before. Yes,
Well, then how you doing with it?
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It's a daily thing,
We always have to take a day, at least one every week, where we simply delight in our lives. How are each of you attending to the emerging story of your life? How are you attending? How are you kind to yourselves? We can't deepen inner work unless we can love ourselves. And the more we love ourselves, the deeper we'll go, because it's kind of painful and ugly sometimes in there, and sometimes so beautiful. But if we're going to go inward and dig around, we've got to be kind to ourselves. I'm not talking about going to get an ice cream. I mean, that could be helpful. It usually is for me, but there's a difference in kindness and indulgence. Kindness is usually internal. When you hear that negative self-talk, just say, stop it. It's not true. Yeah. Okay, so in your Enneagram type, notice when your focus is overused. You got trouble in paradise? You got trouble with your sweetie? Your focus is overused. Yeah. 4s, it's easy to get going on what's missing. ones get going on what's wrong, and sixes get going on what could go wrong, and eights get going on what's out of control. The ego structure is doing all it can to keep the motivation up, and us believing we are our ideal self, the ego's ideal. Okay. There are many gifts that each of us has that are inherent. And some of them are listed on your handout. And you're much more than a type. Again, we have a ground of being, a true nature and essence. Remember a time when you were in awe? Can you do that? Remember a time when you were in awe? Okay, just place yourself there and see if your body can go there with you. Just really, maybe it was the Grand Canyon, maybe it was giving birth, maybe it was being with someone who was dying, some kind of awe experience that really was. You got one? Everybody have one? Just unmute and describe yourself in 1 or 2 words. In that moment, how would you describe you?
Humble.
Humble? Mm-hmm.
Elation and awestruck.
You were elated. You were elated, meaning full, open, maybe expansive.
Very.
I'm assuming nobody got constricted by it.
Oh.
What else would you say?
Able.
Able. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Can you say more about that, Lisa?
You know, a lot of times we hold ourselves back so much because we think we'll fail. And now you find that you're able to.
You believe in you.
To move forward, believe in yourself.
Yeah, it's all there. Anybody else want to add?
Maybe captured and transported are the 2 words that come.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you were receptive in order to be transported.
I was totally thinking of the Grand Canyon when you said that. And I just felt like peaceful, calm, kind of energized and expanded for sure.
Last call.
For me, it was present, just very present.
Yeah. Jennifer?
I would say awestruck, elated, to the moon.
Right. So I invited you to do this because I want to make the point that that's who you are. That's who you are. When we are in awe, we are open, expansive, grateful. I know I usually feel at one with everything, part of the holy web of life. We just know it. We know that we are able. That's who you really are. And then this type gets going and covers that up. But when we're there, there's a light, the radiance of our soul shines through. When we're there are no dualities. It's all both and. If you have a major decision to make, remember a time when you were in awe. Go there to that place of oneness and that holds it all, and make the decision from that place. From that expansive place. There's no fight there. There's nothing to fight.
Sandra, I like to use the words mindful and peaceful.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Sonia. Yes, thank you.
And it took a long time to get there, but I got there.
A lot of ritual and work. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Now I want to say a word about certainty. because we're living in a time in our country's history where there's too much certainty. And you might, in your work with people, take care when you feel certain about something. Because when we're certain about something, we probably aren't in presence. Because certainty creates a duality, right? So, as best you can, remain in presence, open, expansive. And certainty doesn't even show up there.
Okay.
You know, in awe, there was no certainty. Right? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Any questions? I just want to make sure we get, there's your Enneagram type or ego structure, and then there's you. And so I say I lead with type 8. I don't say I'm an 8. Well, I lead with it when I'm not present. I just run in the patterns because it's a comfort zone. It's familiar. I know it. And so in stress, we run back to it unless we catch ourselves and say, stop, let's get present. How are we doing? Okay. All right. Any questions? Moving on now. I don't know what slide I'm on. Let me just scroll through them and see what happens. I would like you, Mark, can you do this? Can you put people in pairs in a breakout room?
Yes, I can.
And each of you, you know your type and you know that first focus. How does that focus support you and hinder you in the work that you're doing as patient advocates? How does it or how would it support you and hinder you? So each person has 2 minutes to just do a monologue. So 1 minute on how it supports you, another minute on how it helps you, and the other person just witness, just be present. The Persian poet Hafiz says, how do I listen to another? As if she were my guru sharing her cherished last words. Let's listen like that. All right, so each person gets 2 minutes and we'll give a minute just to get in there and get out. So you'll be in a room for 5 minutes, okay? And you understand what we're doing? How does that focus hinder you and support you? All righty, may it be rich. You got it, Mark?
Yep. And here we go. 3, 2, 1.
See you in 5.
Can I ask a question?
Of course. Wait till everybody gets back, if you will.
Oh, no way, man. Nope, I'm good.
Okay, Liz, what is it?
No, I decided no, not right. Okay, I'm confused by the 4, where it says something about the juice of longing.
Oh, I should take that out. It's just longing.
Okay.
It's just longing. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, I need to revise that. So could you come up with some ways that this focus supports you in your work and hinders you? Whatever you came up with about how it hinders you, pick one of those and work with it. Create a strategy. Just pick one and then create a strategy so that you're not tripping yourself up like that. If you want an example, just give me one of your hindrances and we can work with it if you want. Thanks for engaging. Now, we're going to move right along, okay? There was your breakout. So I've mentioned that we have 3 brains, and we've got 5 people in the head center, 5, 6, 7. They're information oriented. So for the 5 of you, it's going to be important to know what helps you return to present moment, because you'll go into the future to plan or to prevent worst case. And part of it so that you kind of have a clue about how you'll be, that pre-thinking. But really, what helps you return right here, right now, and what tells you that you're future tripping, that's what creates anxiety and fear moving out into the future. When you come back, there's less anxiety and less fear. And then for Mark and Liz in the heart center, 2s, 3s, and 4s are also known as image types. And they have this emotional intuition. They kind of pick up on others' emotions. And you can engage with another in a way to have them give you the eye contact you want, like the approval, or seeing you the way you want to be seen. So there can be a performance. And so for 2s, 3s, and 4s, it's like, do you know when you're performing and when you're genuine, and what tells you that? Your body will probably tell you, but it's important to pay attention. And then for the 9s, Jennifer, Lisa, and Matthew, 8, 9, and 1 are fairness oriented. And when is that overdone in your lives? And these are known as the self-forgetting people. And so especially 9s are the most self-forgetting type. And part of that is your focus is on others' agendas. And so to really come back to your own agenda, and what helps you remember you? What helps you remember you? So this is kind of, these are questions to work with for the rest of your lives, because this will always be an issue. You know, the ego structure stays with us. We don't change types or ego structures. It's always there. What we're trying to change is, do we go along with it or not? Do we want to try something new? So I wanted you all to know this as well, because communication style is a big deal in what you do. So 3, 7, and 8, the nervous system wiring is fight or assert. And those types initiate easily. They think on their feet. They're good in transitions. They'll have their voices heard. Sabrina is one who's going to ask a lot of questions. There's a collaborative style, engaging with others. And Sabrina, and you know this, you're just going to ask a lot of questions. There's that cautiousness. 6s are called the loyal skeptics. And so, yeah. And so 1, 2, 6 does best practice, looks at impact. And then we have the long-term strategic thinkers. And look how many of you are in that group. Yeah. So you folks are you're gonna lean back and mull it over. You're gonna think multidimensionally. You might take too long to think when you need to lean forward. So you all in meetings lean forward, even if it's just to help you get a question out. Whereas Sonia and Karen, as assert types, we need to lean back. Lean back in meetings. And that gives more space for others. Now, those of you who are 4, 5, 9, when you're with clients, patients, whoever you're with, you may need to say more than you think you need to say. So make sure you're responding in a timely way and not overthinking some things. Not trying to be unique in your approach, but to be simple and practical, and to give the information that's on your mind. I have a niece who leads with type 5, and when she graduated from college, I said, Remember, you need to say more than you think you need to, right? Because fives will think, well, I love to problem solve, alone. So I really don't want anybody helping with the problem. I want to think about it. But the rest of us aren't like that. You see, we project our own type onto other people, and that's not going to work. So others may not want to problem solve alone, fives, okay? Just makes sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
Sabrina, notice when your questions may be too much. Types 5, 6, and 7, you're information oriented. Some people don't want all that information. I've had to say as a body type, stop. I can't take all that in. Just give me the basics. So be aware when somebody, 5, 6, and 7, when you're working with people and their eyes glaze over, just lean back. Right. That makes sense? Okay. Questions? Now, this is big. Do you know that 90% of communication is nonverbal? You probably do know that. So pace, posture, space, and force. And one of the things I do is play with this. So if I'm moving too fast, which I often do, I start sauntering in my walking. I linger. If I lean forward, I start leaning back. 9s and 5s usually don't take up their space. So the 5 of you who are 9 and 5, just start sprawling. See how that feels to you. And then do you need to increase your volume or decrease it? 4 and 6, you all are an 8. Those are the intensity types. And so 4s and 6s in the Zoom room, you might want to just soften the tone sometimes, okay? Last slide before we close with a Rumi quote. I think I need to send this to Karen so she can send this out to you.
Yes.
This column is what we are dancing through life avoiding. And so 4s are avoiding being inadequate or deficient. 5s are avoiding being depleted to the point of non-existence. 6s are avoiding being alone and helpless in a dangerous world. 7s are avoiding being limited and missing something. And 9s are avoiding feeling insignificant and they don't matter. So the voice, one of the big voices is in the first column. And so because it's a painful voice to hear, we do the second column. Let me see if I can I make this bigger? No. So for 9, since we have a lot of 9s, there's a voice that wants you to not be a big deal. Don't be too much. Don't make yourself a big deal. And so it minimizes you. And so 9s just are low key and peaceful and settled. And your growth is to name your opinion, name what you want, and know that you're significant and that you do matter more than you believe you do. But 9s are very sensitive to being not seen or heard, to being dismissed. And you know why, 9s? Because you dismiss you. So when you think others aren't seeing or hearing you, it's probably because you're doing that to yourself. And that's how it is with us, all of us. But I'll send this to Karen and she can get it out to you. All right. So you want to be very clear because the 4th column creates reactivity for you. That's your trigger. That's your trigger. You know, 7s feel like Sonia and Karen, if they feel like they're going to be limited, by golly, they're out of there or you're getting reactive. Right? 5s, if you feel depleted by intrusions and too many unexpected demands, you got a little anger, you can gin that up, right? Okay, Let me stop my share. I want to check in and see what some of the questions are. We want to get all three brains online, and presence helps us do that. We want to expand our filter, our scan, and bring in the blind spot. Crucial. Who are you beyond who your ego tells you you are?
I have a question, Sandra.
Please.
So the one phrase was number 5, depleted to the point of non-existence, which physically I do feel like that a lot. I'm super tired and everything, but I'm just wondering, like, I always thought it was a physical thing wrong with me. Caffeine helps, but I'm starting to think it might be that thought, or just that feeling, because I really do resonate with that. I feel depleted often and like I can't go on, and I need to isolate myself and shelter myself from the world. And I guess just questioning these thoughts could help me maybe give myself more energy. Have you ever worked with someone who had that experience?
Right. So, Lisa, I think 5s need time alone every day. It's restored.
Yeah.
Luann's nodding too. So maintain that. And say yes at least one more time than you would every week. And when you go out with people, look for ways you get nurtured. Look for how people are generous to you. That's the blind spot. And when you start seeing it, because lo and behold, if you scan for it, you will find it. And then, yeah, it's like you got an MDiv or something. Feel a little more energy. Just try it. And remember, fear is pulling you back. And notice what your mind is doing. It's saying, well, if you do this, this could happen, and, how am I going to get out of there, and blah, blah.
Okay.
So if you can lessen the overthinking, the pre-thinking, you'll be much less fatigued.
I'll give it a try.
Yeah, well, I'd love to hear from you about it. Good luck with that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else? 9s, how you doing?
I'll share a little story with you if you don't mind. So coming up was very difficult for me. And I think that's what made me a 9. So I feel like that.
Did you say coming out?
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear what you said.
Coming up. No, coming up. Anyway, so as a child, I was middle child, lots of things going on.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think that, like I said, those are the things that made me a 9.
Lisa,
But
you were born
in
with
the
remember, some of this you're born with. Lisa?
I think she's frozen for a sec.
We come into the world with a blueprint, which is this type. And then we're going to start looking for things that support the blueprint, the preferences. Yeah. And so in the family system, 9s don't feel like they were really seen. They're often the middle child, interestingly. But the family system then affirms some of that and exacerbates the belief. Yeah. Anybody else?
Would you just go around the room one quick time and just say what you like, said the things like you did to to Lisa, to us as groups.
Mhm. I can do it by type, Karen.
Yeah, that's what I mean, sorry.
Yeah, and so, Lisa, are you back?
I think so.
What were you saying, sister? So Luann and Lisa, you feel good with what was said about 5? Okay.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
I'm gonna log out of my computer. I seem to be having some issues with that. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. What I was saying real quick, because I know we're time limited, is that as a child, I feel like that my childhood made me a 9. It left me with a whole bunch of issues that I've been working through most of my adult life.
Mhm.
However, some of the things that you were talking about that actually talks about believing in yourself and that kind of thing, that is something that came very hard for me. But I believe that I have practiced those so much now that I am in a better space than what I have been in years past.
Excellent.
So that's my story.
And Lisa, I just do want to remind you that we are born with some of this type.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. It's both and. So I'll do 5, 6, and 7, and then 9, and then 4. How about that? I'll just go around like that. So Sabrina, bring up positive possibilities. Where's Sabrina?
You
There
said
she
you were
is.
gonna do 5, 6, and 7 together, so I figured I was stuck in there.
No, I just did 5. Now I'm going to do 6, and then I'm going to do 7.
Oh,
So
okay.
as a 6, move into positive possibility and also take a day off, because 6s get task oriented as a way of keeping anxiety at bay. Plus, you don't trust other people to do what they say they're going to do. So you have your fingers in all these pies and it's just exhausting. So take your fingers out of 3 pies.
I don't know how to do that.
Well, then we're on to something.
But you're right though, but like really, I don't trust that anybody else is gonna do what they say they're gonna do. But I mean, I'm agreeing with you, but I don't know how to like actually trust that people are gonna do what they say they're gonna do.
Well, here's the deal. You don't have to. You just trust you. You just trust you. That whatever happens, you'll be fine and take care of it. But back away and trust you. You've got you to count on.
So just trust that the world isn't gonna end if I take a day off. Basically.
I don't know. Yes.
Okay, I'll work on it.
Sonia and Karen, the visionary of the Enneagram, the 7. It is this ego ideal of I'm upbeat and positive. And to really watch when you reframe and come into I am, knowing that you don't have to bring people up. You know, really each person is responsible for her or his own feelings. So you can't make me happy. You can't make me happy. Right. That has to come from me. And so I'm responsible for my feelings. So it's okay that I'm not okay. Yeah, and just let it be. I don't know if you find that applicable to you, Sonia. Does that make sense?
Yes, because that's exactly what we're doing in our spirituality class. Um, you know, I explained to everyone that we're all on our own spiritual journey, and we're just here to support and love one another, not necessarily to tell you what to do, because your journey is specific for you.
Yeah.
And I used to think I have to save everybody, but that took a lot from me whenever I would do that. And so now I have to learn just to say, I am here for you and I love you and I care about you. But
Yeah.
you have to go that road.
Yeah. So it's not your job to make everyone upbeat.
Right.
So save your energy. All right. Shall I go to 9s, Karen, or do you want to say
Yeah,
anything?
go ahead. That's great.
We see you. Notice how you hide yourselves. And if you can take two ways that you hide yourselves and dissolve that, that's a good practice. Show up, because for 9s, there's the belief, and it may be unconscious, that if I show up, what if no one sees me? And that's really going to hurt. So I'm just not going to show up. There's a my agenda or your agenda. There's this hydraulic thinking of 9. But just understand that it's your agenda and my agenda. Both and can be a blind spot for 9 there. Does that make sense to you all? Yeah. 4s. 4s, part of the type structure can have you absorbing others' emotions, and then you don't know if it's your emotion or someone else's. It's great if you can just let the emotion go through you. And if you feel that you've got a pile of emotions within you, then I always suggest the night before the day of new moon, you light a fire and you write down all the emotions, all the things you've carried that aren't yours, and put the paper in a fire and let the universe take it. And come back to just your emotions. The other thing I would say is 4s can take things personally. Stay with facts. When you find yourself in a story where you've taken something personally or think someone's not thinking well of you, stay with the facts. Fact over feeling. Fact over feeling. Okay? Can I share the Rumi quote now?
Yes, you can. And ooh, you forgot to talk about your book also.
Okay. Karen, you're so kind. All right, let's see. I didn't know this quote until a client sent it to me, and I just fell in love with it. When I run after what I think I want, my days are a furnace of stress and anxiety. If I sit in my own place of patience, what I need flows to me and without pain. From this, I understand that what I want wants me, is looking for me. I just think that's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So on May 4th, I'm doing a Zoom workshop on the Enneagram types in grief and loss. And that's listed on my website with a registration link. And then, as Karen said, I have my first book coming out, The Enneagram Map to Your Deeper Self, Living Beyond Your Type. And that's what we want to do. We don't want to be stuck in this. And so we want to know so much about our Enneagram type so we don't reinforce it. And so I give a lot of tips about this on my Instagram account, Sandra Smith Alchemy Works, because I had to have one. And anyway, I'm just putting a lot of Enneagram stuff on it. But the cover of the book is this, and it's going to be out September 1. So I'm
Wow.
getting excited. I think I felt more fear than anything else. But anyway, I had no clue what this was about, but thank you. It's just been a joy to be with you all. Many good wishes and blessings and how you're going to, how your presence will bless others in your work. May it be so. And may you be kind to you. And may you fall in love with yourselves 1,000 times over. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. Can they call, if they want a personal appointment with you, can they do that on your website?
Yeah, there's and my handout has my contact info. So
Great.
just do it after April.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Sandra. It's a joy and a privilege.
Too.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So we have not taken a break. So we're going to take a break for 5 minutes. And it's like 8:40. So come up back at 8:45, and then we're going to do a couple of breakout groups and call it a night. Okay. See you in a bit. Okay, I think we just got everybody back. Welcome back. That was something, wasn't it? She's so excellent. She's mighty excellent. All righty. So we've only got about, we don't have too much time, but I felt like we'd all be kind of very uplifted about after hearing all that. And I thought it would be a good exercise to use our available time with 2 breakout sessions for you to name the name of your business. And sometimes when you are in breakout groups with people and they're saying things and you're saying things, then your mind and your heart and your soul get jarred about, oh, that's a word I want to use. So I'm going to try and send you to 2 or 3, maybe 2 or 3 5-minute breakout sessions, and with each different partner. And what I want you to do is to just free associate different things to call your business. So you might say Moody Orientation Advocacy, Health and Wellness Advocacy, Carmacho Great Advocates. I mean, I'm just making it up, but you never know till, something comes of an adjective or a noun that comes up is really going to resonate with you. So I'm going to give you each 4 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do another breakout, and come back. We'll see what time we have at the second breakout. Okay. So your job is each of you take 2 minutes and name as many things, and the other person can write your stuff down, and then switch after 2 minutes and the other person can write your name down. Come back. We're going to take a breath. We're going to send you back out and come back in. I think that's going to be about 8 or 9 minutes, and then it'll be about 9:03 or something. Okay. And then at the end, we are going to share if there was anything that anyone said or that you said that you want to call your business. Okay. All right. Ready? Mark, can you, when you go to do the first breakout, that should be easy. And when you go to the second breakout, is that easy to undo or redo?
It can be recreated, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. Godspeed. Have fun out there. go with your happy selves. Okay.
And how is the Elder Nurse Corps project coming along?
We have 100 people to RSVP. Yes.
Very nice.
Isn't that funny?
Very nice.
I think it's funny, Mark.
Well, I think it's something that resonates with everybody that they've longed for in different capacities,
That's
and
true.
realize how collectively maybe there can be a more effective, use
Yeah.
of that. So
Yeah. 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 I'm anxious. I'm really looking forward to the first meeting. So
nice.
yeah,
I look forward to being there. I'm grateful that worked out.
great. Okay, is everybody back?
Mhm.
Okay, there's some smiles going on here.
We got grabbed up in mid-sentence.
Okay,
Got as close to the rapture.
the rapture. That's right. Come back from the rapture. Okay. Now we're going to send you back to the rapture. Okay, Mark? We're going to send you back out for another 4 minutes. So it is 8:54. We might do this 3 times. It's 8:54. We'll bring you back at 8:59. Does that sound right? Okay, go do your great blast work out there in Rapture Land.
And we're back.
See you in a little bit.
Yep, we're still here.
Yep.
He's
I'm
getting ready.
having recreation problems here.
That
Yes.
appears like everyone's gone and I'm still here. Nothing to laugh about.
Add room. Well, it made it hard to recreate here. It's like,
Uh-oh.
So I had a friend walk into our house one time, and we were all upstairs in our bedrooms or getting ready for church or whatever. And she walked in. She's like, "Where is everybody? Did the rapture happen? I'm left behind." It was funny.
yeah, I'm almost there. Hang on. I'm sorry.
It's all good, Mark.
It
You're
went
doing
went to a manual mode that I wasn't expecting.
Yes, it has a mind of its own sometimes.
See,
All right.
the AI is not that helpful.
Anticipation is killing me.
All right. Here we go.
All righty.
I'm sometimes surprised at how many businesses don't have a website too, which
I know.
kind of surprises me in the world. I think they don't realize the positives that it can bring. I used Squarespace for the first time and spent 3 solid days and setting up the website for the WNC. Uses of application of AI. And
Wow.
I was pretty impressed at how easier it was to use than the WordPress world.
Oh, yeah.
But it was $23 a month and $12 for the domain. So great.
Wow.
Listen,
All right.
I was just getting ready to show Lisa Nowicki my tattoo.
Oh, okay.
That
Y'all
was
interrupted.
mid-sentence again.
All righty.
Like,
All right. So now you get to share 1 or 2 of your new magical names. So who would like to go first? Okay, Jennifer, What do
Okay.
you,
I'm hoping I'm not speaking for me and Lisa Seeds, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
You
Um,
are.
So Lisa and I have come up with two very potential names, and I may have to throw something in as the third. RN Advocates for You, and it's going to be the 4 and a U. But we've also come up with RVA, which is Richmond, Virginia. Anybody around this area knows RVA is Richmond. So RVA, RN Advocates for You. Just wondering if we need to throw RN Patient Advocate for You or Advocates for You.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we sound too much like a legal nurse consulting firm if we don't put patient advocates.
that's a very good point. If you say orient advocates, that I understand what that means. You might, that's global, and RVA, RN advocates for you. I think that says, I think that's pretty good.
Okay.
So,
We didn't want to put too many words in, which is kind of why we put
Mhm.
patient out of it. But
So I
we'll
think
s-
this is a good try for you guys. It's good.
okay. And we've looked and it is available.
Oh, how interesting. How very cool. All right. Totally awesome. Okay. So, and by the way, you can start buying domains, and like me, I have about 15. So you can start buying domains up a storm till you light on one that works, you
How
know,
much do they cost?
about $13 for the year.
Sweet.
Yeah, they're sweet. Okay, Miss Sabrina, what about you? Have you got a magical name?
For me, I was thinking the Ozark Patient Advocacy Center.
Oh,
So we shall see.
okay. Ozark Patient Advocacy Center. Okay. All right. Anything else? That was your top one for the night?
Oh, do you want me to report other people's?
No, just yours. Just yours.
Or I could do Patient Advocacy Center of the Ozarks, or I could do North Central Patient Advocates. I don't want to use my name. Nobody can pronounce my last name.
Okay.
It's a very difficult 2 syllables. So we're just doing geography.
I will say, when you just put patient advocates, it's a very generic term, and if you can throw the word RN in there somewhere, it's more distinctive and says that you are a registered nurse with healthcare experience. Just saying. Just think about it, okay?
Yes. However, with my business model that I'm working on, I do want to coordinate with people that are not just RNs. So,
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, perfect. Okay, Lisa, do you need to share since you and Jennifer are in cahoots?
Well, the only other one well, she may not know, I was thinking about this, was RVA RN Patient Advocate for You.
RVA, RN,
Patient Advocate for You.
oh, patient advocate for you. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, Liz, what about you? What are your magical names?
Okay, I don't know. Okay, I've been stuck because it feels dry to me to just be like RN patient advocate. But I also so I wasn't going anywhere. And then I was talking to Matthew, and Matthew had fabulous ideas. And honestly, I used ChatGPT while I was in there with Matthew just to generate something. And I said, I need a patient advocacy company name that is exciting. Because honestly, it's gotta engage me too. And it came up with Empower Care Advocacy. I do like the word care. I just do.
Yeah.
So I could see doing something with that. Empower Care Advocacy. It doesn't have the nurse in it. I could slap that in there. RN advocacy, something like that.
You can
I
do
don't know.
anything you darn well please.
That's right, I can.
Okay, awesome. Okay, Liz Nowicki, what about you? Lisa, rather?
Okay. Yeah, I've been with the name. Isn't it true that you need to have like RN patient advocate in the name for the Google search so you come up on more searches, like when people are searching for that? Like, does that have to do with what the name of your business is, or which? I'm kind of confused about that because I'm with Liz. Like, to me, like RN patient advocate, it just seems dry.
So remember what Gary said,
Mhm,
people are going to find you by your name
mhm.
and they're going to find you by your tagline. So that's two things. So you might
Okay.
say, no wiki patient advocates, and then you might say, experienced RNs doing great work. I mean, I'm making this up. That's an example of a tagline. So,
Okay.
so just,
Because I had thought I like Nurse No Wiki, RN patient advocate, but it does sound a little sharp. I don't know. I mean, that could be good or bad. Also, I like RN patient advocate options. I don't know. Maybe I like variety. Yeah, so those are my two that I had thought of.
okay. Think you guys are doing great. Thank you. Okay, Luann, what about you?
Well, Karen, I just don't know. I already have an S Corp wellness corporation that my husband and I shared. I do have to change the name because we used it for consulting. And it's integrative wellness 3. So 3, the numeral, but number 3. So I could change the number. I need to, I've thought about just adding RN advocate to that. But frankly, I don't know. That's kind of the last piece, and I just keep looking at words. So it's already there. The S Corp is already there. It's based in Wyoming, and it's okay to change the name. And that I need to do to have a fresh start for tax purposes.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna say, I don't know. It's okay.
It's okay. This is your first stabs. These are your
Okay.
first stabs. No judgment, right?
Okay.
No judgment.
Thank you.
Okay, Matthew, what about your magical names?
Well, I was meeting with a business attorney this week too, finishing up a round of things I'd paid for with him about restructuring myself into a self-employment again. And he just, and I've got an LLC called Marketing by Design that I use for marketing and real estate. And I said, I really want to change. He said, well, let the dust settle now. Let's not change a bunch of stuff. But what I'm working on right now is a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of different name types. Some I've used, some I haven't, but it's all by design. It's like living by design, real estate by design. And I'm thinking about maybe doing advocacy by design or patient advocacy by design. But I really like when we were in playing with the Chat GPT, it really got me going. You can tell Chat GPT all the definitions of exactly what you want. I'm going to throw that in and play a lot more with that. That'll be fun. Let it
It
give
is
me,
fun.
just tell it I need 25 names for exciting, dynamic, and explain the business and let it just rock.
I think that's a great idea. It's a
Yeah.
great idea for everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matthew. All right, Sonia, what are your magical names?
Now, I don't have any medical names or anything, because, our goal is for our clinic, which is, we're Wewoka. So it would be Wewoka, spiritual clinic or whatever. But if I was to do like a personal one, it'd probably have to say something about like Indigenous RN advocacy or advocate, because that way they would know that I would have the cultural understanding and sensitivity of
Mm-hmm.
knowledge in that aspect of,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find those resources for them coming from an Indigenous point of view.
Awesome.
See
Awesome.
something like that.
That's
I like
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
Indigenous RN advocate. I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. It's good. Go buy it.
I wish I would have had somebody like that for my dad.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to be doing this little exercise again, and I think Matthew's idea was great. Actually, Mark instructed me how to use AI in regard to just distilling down different paragraphs for mission statements, like the mission. I'm creating something called the Elder Nurse Corps here in Asheville, and I had to do mission statements and vision statements and taglines. And I had to throw out all these words about the mission statement. Well, we want to work with patients and families and nurses. We want to empower nurses. We want to empower patients. So then we say, do it again, do it again, do it again. So anyway, it was just fun playing with AI. It was fun to try to trick AI. So anyway, we'll do this again. All right, so now guess what? It's 9:12. We're going to do takeaways. So don't be discouraged that you can't think of your name, and you'll just, you look for words that and totally empower you, and you can do that with GPT. That's a great tool to play with. All right, so let's do our takeaways for the night. Next week, we're having Sarah Benoit, who is webmaster genius and marketing genius, who will be here with you. She has been my webmaster for 7, 8 years now. And she is an amazing platform speaker. She's hilarious and she's way out there and you'll love her. Okay. So let's do takeaways. So, Mark, your takeaways tonight.
I got carried away with the last exercise, and I was already thinking a tagline for all of these. The tagline being for the healthcare patient that doesn't know. I don't know why that resonates.
For the healthcare patient that doesn't know.
Yes, I mean that's ultimately your clientele, and that resonates with me because I am one of those that doesn't know enough about healthcare. And then Sandra Smith continues to amaze me. It's a very complicated subject in my mind, but I'm also impressed at how confidently she understands the mechanics of this. And it's probably the one topic that I struggle the most with. But continue to learn each time that Sandra speaks.
She is amazing. Thank you, Mark. Okay, Sabrina, what about you? What are your takeaways?
My takeaway is that this is not the first time you've made us do homework and not ask for it. My other takeaway is that I really liked Sandra. I thought she was a really good speaker. I learned that she's not the first person who's told me I asked too many questions and that I need to be more optimistic and that I need to learn to live in the moment. So those are all things that I'm aware that I need to work on. I already have a therapy appointment tomorrow. Thank you, Sandra. So that is all awesome. I will continue to work on my business model. So that is good. And yep, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Lisa Seeds.
I really enjoyed our speaker today. She actually talked a lot about things that I think we need to focus on as a whole. And I appreciate her listening to all of our little innuendos and whatnot. As far as the business name is concerned, that is it's a hard thing to do. If you really want to catch the right persons and groupings and try to get your name out there. So yeah, very interesting.
All righty, thank you. And what about you, Jennifer?
First of all, I have to say that Sabrina had me rolling this whole class. I know it was more about our speaker, but I mentioned to her during one of our breakout systems and things that she survived the apocalypse. Oh, I mean the eclipse. The world did not come to an end. She will survive this. And her death flower just had me, I'm still rolling on the floor with that. And I get that we were born with the genes that make us who we are in our enneagrams. So embrace it, figure it out, and figure out how to live with it. And we'll see from there.
Amen. Amen. Okay, Liz, what about you?
Well, what I appreciated about Sandra is her being, I guess. I had come into it with a concern like, do I have to box myself and categorize myself yet again? But that's not where she's coming from in the slightest. And I like that. I'm intrigued now about how like it could be a tool for, yeah. As far as the name, I don't know, but it was really helpful to me to talk with Matthew, specifically, just to remember, I guess, like having something that's inspiring to me too, and that's engaging, that I can buy into. So it was good.
Thank you. Good. Thank you. Okay, Lisa Nowicki, what about you?
Okay. Yeah, Sandra was great. Some really good tips at ways to deal with our blind spot. And yeah, as far as the name for my business, yeah, that'll take some consideration, but at least I'm started on it. So
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. And Luann?
Appreciated, Sandra, and I am not going to be discouraged about not knowing everything right now about my business name. We'll let that percolate up. And I would say there's measurable improvement after this class because now I know what my wing people are, and I know what the vector is for my 2 lines. And actually, I found as we went around this circle that there was a pearl in every one of those for myself. So that's my takeaway for the appreciation of it.
Okay, great. Thanks. And Matthew, what about you?
Well, for me, first, she's just an amazing woman. It's like, wow, I would love to do more work with her, and I will definitely, contact her and do a session when I can. But I've always been so confused by Enneagram because I always thought, like everything else, it's like, oh, you're a Taurus, so this is really what you are, and you're not going to escape it. I always thought it was something to embrace, and it's not. It's something to honor that, for better or for worse, that's just where you're going to default to. You're everything else, actually, and I love that. So it makes me really a lot more interested in it, and I do realize how just it is an ancient practice, and I love that too. I love it didn't come from white America. It comes from someplace else. And then as far as the names, that was very exciting. I hadn't really stopped to really think about specifically this business in a name. And it was really fun to do the breakout group. I got Liz twice. We were matched together twice. So we got to continue our conversation, and we really had fun with it. And I'm kind of excited to get in and start playing with it.
Okay, thank you. And Sonia, what about you?
Well, I'm sorry, I apologize because I missed the majority of it. but I think I kind of understand a little bit more with all of this, because I felt like even reading the book and the choices that we could be, it's like you're a little bit of each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
Mm-hmm.
even for my healing journey, I've always learned to take the best of what I want and just learn from the negative things and the bad things that happen. And so, being a 7, you know, my wing people are 8 and 6s, so I need a Sabrina in my life. So thank you, Sabrina.
Sure. So Sabrina, I know our homework, but I had to leave time for Sandra in her comprehensiveness and these things. So we will identify where our score chapters are at the front of the class, although Sarah's going to be talking next week, so I'll just do that at the front. So I want you to know we didn't forget totally. Okay.
Sarah
And
does
then
presentations for SCORE too, so
she
she's
does.
very
She
active.
does. That'll be very cool. So last thing we're going to do tonight is we're going to figure out what our hand signal is as we leave. So I want you all to put up your hand signal that you choose to say goodbye with. So whatever it is, so what is your favorite hand signal? And then we're going to vote. So we have hearts, hearts. We have, oh yes, this is the Queen. Okay. We have hearts. We have, is that love, Matthew? That's love. Okay. Is it this or this? This. Oh, that. Okay. All right. So we have love, hearts. What was the other one down here? 2 of them. I think I saw something else. Isn't that it? Okay. So now in the chat, I want you to tell me if it's hearts, if it's love. Wasn't there something else? Oh, yes, and the Queen. Okay. Hearts, loves, and the Queen. Put your favorite vote in here. And I'm not going to vote because this is your hand signals. So in the chat, write heart. Okay, good. There's one for heart. Okay. Luann, Matthew, Sabrina, heart. Okay. What about the rest of you guys?
Wait, show me the heart again.
Like this?
I gotta make sure I can do it. That hurts
Like
my
that.
wrist.
Takes a little practice. Okay, Jennifer's got the Queen Mom. Okay. Lisa Nowicki's got 5. I mean, love. Yep, that's Lisa Seeds. Okay, I believe the love signal has 1. Would you all feel agreeable with that? Okay, so we're going to say goodnight to each other. Oh, love versus, okay. Hearts versus, let's see, we better go back and look at this. So we have love.
Need to stop.
Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3 hearts, 4 hearts, and we have 3 loves. So because it's kind of close, and we have a Queen Mom, you're going to now choose between hearts and love. Okay. So you get to pick one and put it in the chat. Hearts or love. So it would be this or that, right? Okay, put that in the chat. Okay. Oh, it's kind of a hard runoff. Okay, keep going. Okay, let's see. All right, this is the second one. So we have one more. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we have 5 loves and 2 hearts? Am I reading that right? Roughly? I'm thinking the loves win. What do you all see? Yep, that's what I see. Yep. Okay, welcome to your new hand signal. All right, this is it. Good night, everybody. Yay. See you next week. Don't
Right.
forget your homework. Bye.